All right, what's up, everybody? This is episode number 6, I believe. We're going to do a little bit differently today, so I'm actually just going to hold my mic. I did a podcast this weekend with my father-in-law, and it was pretty sick. It was really good. I wish I could post it. However, the audio was just too bad on my end. We actually had him sitting on this side, and I was sitting on this side. And it sounded really good on his mic, but my mic was all messed up, so it actually kind of sucked. To go back and listen to it. The conversation was solid. So I'm still working, and I still need to kind of put a little bit more time in understanding the mics and things like that, which today I did a lot of troubleshooting today and kind of like editing the mics and kind of editing the quality of the mics. So hopefully this is like another little test run. Still building it, right? But what I did want to talk about today is something that I was thinking about last night. So I wrote this quote this is from me. This is like something that I was thinking of last night, and I wanted to write it down before I forgot. And so I always text myself. So I said, I'm closer than I've ever been, but I'm farther than I ever thought. And to give some context behind that, basically, last night and almost every night I go to bed, I always think about what can I do? What am I not doing? Right? I've been saying this multiple times. And I just kind of focus on at night, what can I do, right? And what am I doing? Or what do I want, right? Like I'm kind of always going through this entire list in my head about what I want to have now and what I don't have now kind of thing, which it can be thought of as I don't appreciate what I do have now, which I would argue that I do appreciate, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy with my life that I have. But I know I'm always striving for more. So when I'm in bed, before I go to bed, like I'll be in bed, but before I go to bed, I'll pull up Car Gurus, and like I just surf Car Gurus or Facebook Marketplace. But looking at Lambos, McLarens, really a McLaren 570S is kind of something that I see that I could have within the near future. But then, trying to find financial goals and trying to plan for this next route in my life. It's hard unless I'm making a lot of money to be able, you have to pick one, right? Like I have to pick one. Do I want the financial stability route, or do I want the route to where I can go get the car? And I'm trying to get the best of both. I want to have the financial stability while also having the car that I want, while also having the house that I want, while also having like the financial freedom that I want. But it's kind of hard because you have to plan it out very, very precisely. And then in that planning, this is where I find myself, it's really hard to enjoy myself on the weekends because I don't want to go spend money, because depending on what it is, like, am I going to go to Top Golf and spend $200 at Top Golf? I don't go out and drink, so that's kind of like off the table. Like that's not something I do. Do I want to go out to dinner every night, or do I just want to go to the grocery store and get my food and cook my food? And then the only thing that I can do really without spending money actively is going to the gym, playing video games, making these videos, doing something, or reading books, right? Like that's really, I was thinking about this the last couple days, is like, what do I do for my own self, for my fun? And I would say that I'm a boring person. I really don't go out and do anything. It's a boring life, but at the same time, it's because I don't want to celebrate my life-ish right now. It's not about like not celebrating. It's more about, am I going to follow my financial goals? Like, do I want to continue to spend money and not get where I want to be? Or do I want to kind of like the idea of like suffer for the next couple years? It's going to take a lot of time for me to get to where I want to be. And it's not about the idea of what suffrage is. It's like, if you have X amount of money to be able to go out and do things, or you save that money, and saving is like almost kind of somewhat investing the money or not spending the money, right? It's not like I'm saving my money. It's just I'm not spending my money. Or if I do have extra money am I putting it into an investment account? And I can already hear some arguments where it's like, dude, you got to enjoy your life, which I completely agree. And that's where I'm trying to rationalize with myself, what can I do? So I'm actually looking into doing like maybe like a baseball league or something like that. But to get back to the point, right? Last night I thought of this quote, and I've never heard it before. It's just something that I was thinking, and it was like really deep to me. I said, I'm closer than I've ever been, but I'm farther than I've ever thought. And what that means to me is like, this is the most money I've ever made in my life. This is the part of the time in my life where I'm becoming debt free. I'm paying off all my debt. That's what I'm really doing with all my extra money. I'm paying off the extra bills that I have. And then also, like I said, planning for the future. So this is the most I've ever made in my life, right? I'm 27 years old. And the consistency of the amount of money that I'm making. But it's hard because then you like take a step back and you're like, damn, look how much money I'm making. I feel like 10 years ago, this is where I wanted to be at. And now that I'm here, I'm like, fuck, I feel like I can't do anything. But at the same time, I also see how much closer I am to my goals, where I like closer to achieving my goals. But then every time you actually put it on a piece of paper and you write it down and you see what the goals cost, the cost of the life that it takes, it's like, damn, it's a lot farther than what I initially thought it was. I'm closer to it, but it's a lot farther away than I thought it was. Then I had this a little reminder just now. Was a couple of years ago, I made a video that was along the lines of, like I said, something along the lines of, I feel like every time you take that next step in life, that next step to get closer to your goals, which is like either switching the job and taking one step back to take two steps forward, like that kind of thing. And you have to sacrifice the amount of money that I had to sacrifice the amount of money that I was making. So I was working at a high-end remodeling job, making good money. But I had to sacrifice for about 2 years of almost not making any money. I was working part-time and I wasn't making any I was barely making money to pay my bills. And I actually got to the point to where I was buying groceries on a credit card. Like, that's how difficult it was getting, to the point to where I had to take that step backwards, leave that construction job to go to the helicopter job. And now I'm finally with that side of my career where I'm consistently making the same amount of money. And so I feel like I took my step back, and now I'm taking my step forward, and now I got another step forward, and then another step forward, and then another step forward. And every time you take that step forward, it just gets harder. So learning a new helicopter, learning new emergency procedures, learning new regulations, learning new characteristics of the helicopter and like how it is to fly that helicopter, because you want to be a good helicopter pilot, because people don't want to fly with somebody that are like, oh, this guy doesn't seem safe, or this is a sketchy flight. Is he a good pilot? You know what I mean? Like, you're constantly, people are putting their lives in your hands. You know what I mean? So it's a very stressful job as well. But every step you take, it just gets harder. And then at what point are you going to stop taking the step? Because it just gets harder and harder and harder. And I don't want to stop taking those steps. But it's like the double-edged sword, because it just gets harder and harder. And it's just more and more pressure within myself, which I do it to myself, right? Like, I'm completely aware that I'm putting myself in these positions that is more stress and more pressure within myself. And then the goals that I want is putting more pressure and more stress on myself, which I'm completely okay with. But it's like, in the moment, right now, in this time, that's where it becomes hard, because I don't have anything to do other than try to save my money as much as I can, or invest my money as much as I can without going and wasting my money. So it's easy to say, okay, like maybe you should go on a shopping spree like once every month or something like that. But that adds up at the end of the year. $200. You can't even go buy a pair of shoes these days for less than $100. And $100 is nothing now. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's nothing because a date night with my wife and I, or not even a date night, we just go, which is technically a date night, but if we were to just go get food, now it's almost $60 a person. And even fast food, like, which I don't really eat fast food, but if you go to like, I like, Rosa's Cafe or something like that, Luna Grill, I don't like a higher end fast food restaurant, it's still like $30-$40 for two people, which is crazy. But that adds up. So when I'm like analyzing my bills, I'm like, dude, I just got to cut back on that stuff. So now I got to eat at home more. I don't want to go out and spend money. I don't want to go out and do those things that I'm saying, like going to like Top Golf or going to golfing, or what am I doing to spend my time outside of work to like find my happiness kind of thing. And I just kind of disagree with the whole idea that like you have to be happy, but it is hard because when I get home from working, or I work every weekend or whatever it is, it's like, fuck, dude, I kind of want to enjoy my life just a little bit. But then I'm like, damn, do I want this McLaren? Do I really want it that bad? Which I think I do. I really think I do. And that's what's hard to go do things on the weekend, because I'm like, nah, I'd rather just save my money or put it somewhere, right? And not spend it. That's the end. The whole point is like not spending it, right? So last night I'm thinking, and that's where I said that quote, right? I'm so much closer to where I want to be at, in which I'm happy with where I am, but I want more. I need to continuously push myself to keep growing and like learn more, learn what it is that I should have learned years ago, learn what it is that I should have been taught years ago, which it's something that I take away now as an adult, that says to myself that when I have kids, I want to teach my kids the things that I learned now at 27, at 17, 18, because that's what 17, 18-year-old kids with the parents that have the understanding of that background. So it's not like I have a step ahead when it comes to experience. Like I understand that not everything is going to be perfect. I'm like fully aware that in good times, bad times are going to follow. And right now, am I in a good time or am I in a bad time? And it's not like necessarily that the bad time is like, you don't got money in the bank account. You don't have like your car. There's a bunch of bills or like maintenance that's due on your car. Something's going on with the house. Like dental. Like a big thing I've been focusing on this year is like my dental. Like doing a lot of dental work, things like that. And that's insanely expensive. And so the moment that you have the ability to do something, like say you save up this money that you're like, okay, once I get to this number, all right, good. Now anything on top of that, I can go spend and enjoy. And then by the time you get to that number that you're like looking for, something's going to come up, right? Now it's time to change your tires. Now it's time to change your brakes. Now, like my fucking windshield's cracked. So now I got to go replace my windshield, something like that. Like there's always something. My house, I had to get my roof replaced. I've had to replace my AC unit, a bunch of shit. As soon as you get to the point to where you have the money that you wanted in the first place, something's going to come up. So I'm completely aware of that. And I think that's like the experience that I'm talking about. Whereas like a younger person, they have the knowledge, the theoretical side of it of like, oh yeah, like this is how it works. But it's like implementing the knowledge, which is pretty hard because it just takes time and experience to get the experience, right? Time and yeah, I guess experience and things like that to get the experience. If that makes sense. But anyways, so I just am analyzing a lot of things right now in my life because I think that's what it takes for me to get to the next step. And how hard is it going to be to get to the next step? And how hard am I willing to push to get to the next step? That kind of thing. I feel like that's another reason why I don't want to do anything on the weekends. I don't want to go play baseball because what if baseball is a setback? What if going to join this league is going to prevent me from getting to where I want to go? And I don't think there's anything that I've seen from anybody that gives me the impression that if I go play baseball on the weekend in some league I start to put time into that that I'll lose some type of money or that I'll lose some type of opportunity or anything like that. I don't know why. I feel like I read a lot of books or I watch a lot of podcasts and a lot of success podcasts, a lot of business podcasts. And it's like, are these guys, what are they doing? You know what I mean? And not a lot of them are doing anything outside of the world that they're in, which is like business and things like that. Right. And so that's like one of those things that like I'm fighting within myself as well. Like, do I do something on my time off to enjoy my life, or do I consistently read, consistently put time and effort into my personal development, my personal growth, which is like reading for me, or watching podcasts that talk about like mental health, or podcasts that talk about business or finances or things like that. Like that's what I'm really big into right now. But at the same time, like I want to enjoy my life outside of just these things, because it's not the most enjoyable thing at all times. Like I want to read every day. Like I actually really enjoy reading now. As I get older, I feel like I enjoy the slower things, the things that have more value, but it takes more time to achieve the entire value. It's like I was saying, building a foundation on reading. Like how many books can I read? How much knowledge can I build? But if I'm just now getting into it, it's going to take time to completely understand what all these books are saying, or the lifestyle that I want to live, like how it is to be lived. I understand like I have to have a foundation, and it's not going to happen overnight as well. So the time that I have that isn't in the books or in the podcasts or trying to learn, like I don't necessarily enjoy 100% of my time learning something. I would like to have the ability to kind of like take a step back from learning and like pushing myself in another world. So like going to the gym. Now I feel like I'm really getting to the point to where I'm unmotivated to go to the gym, but I have to force myself to go to the gym, because I think the gym is a really good aspect in my life where it pushes me forward. It keeps me disciplined in a physical sense in life. Right. And the same thing with reading books or learning. It keeps me in a disciplined sense for my mental growth or my personal development growth. But at the same time, like where's the growth for that balance to like have an enjoyable life? That way, like I'm not just because I don't think it's like I'm throwing my life away by learning and constantly keeping this discipline and constantly pushing myself. But at what point do I get to enjoy myself? And I think that's where I'm at now, where I can start to enjoy myself, because that one step back, two step forward thing is I'm finally taking the steps forward. But as I'm taking the steps forward, there's a lot more responsibilities on my plate, a lot more things that I got to do, where I like don't know if I necessarily want to put time into going to play baseball or finding something that brings me happiness. You know what I mean? So anyways, that quote, going back to that quote where it talks about, I got to read it again because it was such a good quote. I'm closer than I've ever been, but I'm farther than I ever thought. That's something I thought about going to bed last night. And I think about that kind of scenario every time I go to bed. What happens when I make the money that I'm saying that I want to make? So what will I do with the money when I make it? Will I just increase my spending? So that way now I'm like, okay, now I got to make more money. Now I got to make more money because I continuously increase my spending, or am I going to be financially disciplined and smart with my money? So I think I'm really close to where I want to be at in life. But the closer I get, the farther and the more I realize how much it takes to get to that point. And this is like kind of almost like a therapy session, because sometimes it seems like, well, I think it's because my Instagram, and a lot of people don't really have these conversations with me where it seems like, oh, it just comes easy to you, or like your life is good, or like the vehicles that you have are nice, things like that. And it's just like in my head, I'm like, but it's not the vehicle that I want. I mean, I have the vehicles that I want, but it's not like my Lamborghini. It's not my McLaren. You know what I mean? So I enjoy and I appreciate and I'm thankful and glad that I have reliable vehicles. But is it what I completely want? Is it like the end? Is it the car? And I don't think even when I get the Lambo or the McLaren that it's going to be the end. It's just the fact that like I could go take that McLaren out right now or tonight and like go on a drive and enjoy the drive. I think so. Side note, one of the biggest things about a McLaren or a Lamborghini for me is it's not the name. I remember I rented out a Lamborghini for my birthday, and all my boys were like, bro, let's go to the club. Like we can park it out front and like we can hang out around the car, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, I just rented the car to drive it. I like the experience, the feeling. It's like this exhilarating feeling while you're in a Lamborghini and you're driving these like very high performance cars. And it's like, I want to learn how to drive this car at the capability of the car. When it gets to the point to where you can push the car to its limit, that's what I enjoy. Not enjoying the car because of the name Lamborghini. Like that brings no joy to me. Same thing like the idea of like a Ferrari. Like I don't really care about a Ferrari, even though it's the same echelon of car. And some people could argue that Ferraris are better than Lamborghinis, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that I don't want the car because of the name. I want the car because of the experience. Like I can go outside and look at this beautiful masterpiece of a car that's just art. That's my idea of art, that it just releases a feeling. I want that feeling. And I stay up all night looking at these cars. And it sucks right now where it's like 2025 and what is this, July? Yeah, we're January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, July, sorry. Is July 2025. And right now is probably one of the best times to buy a supercar. The car market is insanely low. Like the car market has gone down so much that I'm like, dude, every time I look at these cars, I'm like, fuck, it's so close. It's right there. I can smell it. I can fucking smell it. But I can't get it yet. You know what I mean? So now it's like, okay, just patience. Wait for it. But waiting is not my strong suit. You know what I mean? Like I want it now. And I think that creates that like fire in me to continuously push more because I want more. But at the same time, like I do want to enjoy my life, which I like doing this. I like doing the podcast. I think the podcast is cool. But even the podcast is very draining in itself. Right? It takes a lot of energy from me because I'm having a conversation for about 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how long the podcast is, which is releasing all this energy, all this mental power, all this time that I'm putting into it. Which it's a cool experience. It's really fun. I like actually going back and watching these things. What's hard about actually the podcast is more so along the lines of like, it's not perfect. And that's what I don't like about it because I'm like, I want it to be perfect. I want the audio to sound great. I want the picture quality to be great. I want the background to look solid. I want my words. I don't want to stutter on my words. Right. And so that's really cool because it does help me learn how to have a better conversation and speak better because I can go back and watch this. But even going back and watching it takes a lot of effort because then I have to listen to myself talk. And dude, I feel bad. I hope that y'all enjoy the content, but sometimes I can see that like, dude, this is fucking hard to watch. But it's also like I'm watching myself talk too. So kind of like 50-50. But it's more energy giving out. So even at the end of the day, do I really want to give out all this energy? And sometimes it's not always that I want to do it. Same thing like going to the gym. I know it's always for the better. It's just like same thing with eating. Like, do I want to eat this snack because it tastes good? Or do I want to have the better physique and be very disciplined and not eat this snack, which I just ate pizza tonight. So like, I'm not fucking perfect in anything. And maybe that's the barrier that keeps me from getting to that next level. Or maybe it's just time. Maybe I am going there, right? But the point of all this is that what can I do and what can I give myself credit for doing on my time off that's progressive, that's giving back to myself, as well as like giving back to the community. Like, this podcast, my goal isn't to just do it for me. My goal is to maybe have a conversation that somebody can listen to and take some advice, take some knowledge, take some wisdom out of it. but as well as having a good conversation. And again, like I said, I had a podcast with my father-in-law, and dude, it was really good. My wife said to just post the video, but you can't even hear the questions that I'm asking. My mic was so messed up that I would ask a question and you could only hear maybe like out of 2 words that I would say, out of like a sentence, you could only hear 2 words that I would say. But you'd hear my father-in-law very clearly, and it was a really good conversation. I liked it. So again, bringing people on here that share their experience in life, and maybe somebody that's watching this can be like, oh wow, that's a great take. That's a good perspective. I like talking about politics. That's a really fun topic to talk about. Even if somebody disagrees with me, I think that's even more fun because I'm a very controversial guy. I like conspiracies. I like to debate. I like confrontation. Now, physical confrontation, I don't like physical confrontation. I think it's fucking stupid nowadays at my age. I would like to get into like fighting and like in a controlled environment. But nowadays on the street, people will pull a fucking gun out for you cutting them off or for them cutting you off. Like, it's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy. But that, like, I don't want to bring entertainment that is like, oh, it's bad drama. It's drama, so I can't wait to watch it. It's like, no, I actually want to bring a good sense of a feeling while watching my podcast kind of thing. So that's kind of like that's another reason why I like doing this, is because, you know, there might be some progress within myself, but also for somebody that's watching this. And then maybe that quote that might help you, like, hey, you might actually be closer to your goal than you think. It's just hard because you're in competition at all times. You know, like, life is a competition. The United States, what I've really realized with capitalism and society that we live in, it's not handed to you. You have to go out and get it. What's really crazy was when this clicked in my head, when it was like, I went from the thought process of thinking that I was just going to become a millionaire, that one day it would just happen. And I still get that sometimes, where I'll get asked by guys that own businesses, and they're like, hey, you talk about all these cars. Like, so what are you going to do? Because working for the rest of my life, like for somebody else, I won't be able to get this car unless I'm like very, very, very strategic with my money. And then I can't do anything else with my money except for buy this car, which I don't want that either. I want to have a lifestyle. I want to have financial freedom. So if I have to go work, 50, 60 hours a week to pay for the car, I don't want that either. You know what I mean? So, the mindset changed from thinking that it was just going to happen one day. I think that's like the belief that I had in myself. And now as I get older, I'm like, okay, now how are we actually going to make this happen? How am I actually going to make enough money to be able to get to this financial freedom that I want? And then I think it just started off with me for analyzing my bills, analyzing the money that I'm spending. Where's my money going? That kind of thing. So it's just that's like a little tangent of it's not going to come easy. It's so ridiculously hard. There's this quote that I said before, and it's one of the quotes that I really enjoy, that I have to remind myself. It's hard being rich and it's hard being broke. So choose your hard. Everything in life is hard. I think that's another reality check in life that I had to have, is life is hard. No matter what you believe in, whether it's a religious belief, a political belief, a belief in a career that you should have, or anything, it's just hard. There's going to be trials. There's going to be tribulations. There's going to be times that you get pushed to your limit and you're going to crack. But it's what are you going to do after that crack? What are you going to do when you fall? You know what I mean? Are you going to get back up, or are you going to fall because you had financial stress, and then now it's like, okay, like I don't want to get back to that, so I'm just not going to put myself in that position again? Or are you going to put yourself in that position again, but then learn from your last mistake? It's all about life lessons, right? Learning the lessons of life. Like, what is it that you're not learning right now that you should be learning? What is it that you've gone through in your past, in your history, that you continuously repeat? One of the hard things for me right now is like finding my friend group. I feel like I'm such a fucking loner. I feel like I have like 2 or 3 friends that I can call up. I feel like I have a lot of people that I can call up and have a good conversation with, and like valuable people. Yes, like all my friends are very valuable, but it's like do I have somebody that is on the same page as me, like on the page, and they want to finish the book on the same page as me, like these things. And it's really hard finding that group of people because we all have different routes that we want to go into life. And then, it's also hard because I have really good friends that I do know that I could count on that have the same desires and motivation and the same disciplines, and we could push ourselves to get better. But I live in Dallas, and I have a couple of friends that live in Houston. I have a couple of friends that live in California, friends that live in New York. Like, we're all so spread out that it's almost like really hard to keep us on the same path. So I actually don't even fucking hang out with a lot of friends. I don't even hang out with a lot of people. And I'm in that weird stage. And I think that's what comes whenever you're trying to change, right? We see this all the time on podcasts, especially when you're listening to somebody of like a professional environment that is a successful person. They always talk about like it's the closest people that you're around. The people that you're around are going to make up the quality of your life. And I just feel like it's really hard to find people every day that are willing to call you every day, that's willing to show up at your house every day. And then the one person that you do have, something might happen to them. I had that person. That was my brother-in-law, and he passed away. It's just like everything that I think of that I should be doing right now with one specific person, it's my brother-in-law. And he passed away, and it's just like there's this search for somebody of the same quality. And I'll never find somebody like that. I'll never find somebody that fits the role that my brother-in-law had within my life, like who he was to me, with who he was to my family. You know what I mean? So I'm also just looking for a new friend group, and that's fucking hard. Life is hard, right? And also being aware of like how you conduct yourself around certain people, things like that. Like these are a lot of things that I consider day to day. Like what am I talking about? I think I take things a lot very deeply, right? Like depending on what somebody says to me, I'm like, let me analyze why they said that, what they said. How did I present myself? Was it in a good way? Was it in a bad way? How could I have said this better to get a better response? How could I have said something better to maybe get the relationship that I was looking for from somebody that I value? I value this person and who they are. And then it's like, okay, how do I keep that person in my life? Because, think about this. Like, you are looking for a friend. You go find somebody that matches the description. But are they looking for a friend that's matching the description that you're looking for? Are you fitting the description that they're looking for? Are they looking for a friend? Do they already have their friend group? You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid difficult to find the quality of people that you want to be surrounded by. I want to be surrounded by professional people, but then I have to learn. I have to increase my value. And my value isn't necessarily only how much money I make. It's like, what am I doing in my career? Is my career a valuable career? Is my personal development a valuable am I a valuable person? Like, I'm a very trustworthy, I would say I'm a trustworthy person, that I'm a responsible person, that I'm a reliable person. I'm dedicated, I'm driven, I'm willing to be there and push somebody that needs help to go through some things, right? But am I going to present it well enough for that other person to see that in me off of that one introduction that we've had? So it's like, that's another thing is I also understand like we're all going through this. I think we're all going through this in different phases of life. That's something that I've realized, like the guys that own the Lambos, the guys that have the multiple houses or multiple cars, or they can go on vacation, they're financially free. I think they're just in a different, I don't think they're necessarily better than me or that I'm better than anybody else that isn't where I'm at. Like, it's just a time in life. Like, where are we at in our time in life? That's the same thing with politics. I think our politics change depending on the time in life. If I feel like I'm being affected a lot more by the government's decisions, I'm going to be a lot more involved in politics, and I'm because I feel the repercussions of what our politics are doing. Our political, the people that are in political positions, like what's the decisions that they're making, and is it affecting me? And I think it is. I think it's affecting all of us, but does it affect you to the point to where you think the left should do the left will do the better job, or the right will do the better job? And now it's gotten to the point to where it's almost like, dude, the left and the right, they don't care. Like literally, it doesn't matter if you would have voted for Kamala Harris or if you did vote for Donald Trump. There's an agenda that I believe is planned, that's been planned for, I don't know, maybe like 40, 50 years, that there's a group of people that just want to separate this very, very top 0.1%. They want everything, and they want to do as much as they can to prevent you and me from having anything. So now you're fighting that while you're also fighting your neighbor. And sometimes it's good because you can, that's like the environment that you're in. You can have good competition. Competition is phenomenal, but you also have to realize that there's guys that want you to lose, but they're not out there to like make you lose. They want to win. So if they want to win, that means you have to lose. So surrounding yourself around people that can question you, like, how are you going to get money, or how are you going to get this car? And then like you have to analyze what it is that you really want, what it is that you're really willing to put time and effort into to getting, because then you have to take a step back from that. It's like, is this the life that you want? Do you want to live a life of chasing money? Because it's not the money, it's the ability. But the only thing that gives you ability is money, because that's the society that we live in. So I don't know, like, that's why I'm saying, like, it's the time in life that we all live in. You know, like, where in life are you at? Are you learning all your lessons right now? Are you still repeating all the lessons you haven't learned? Are you financially successful now? Are you financially free now? Are you big into politics? Why? Like, is it because you want a better community, a better culture in the United States? Like, what is it that is putting you in the environment that you're in now? And at some point, it does take time to get to that next environment. Or are you comfortable with where you're at? Because maybe you have made it. Maybe you're exactly where you want to be at, and now it's just coasting. Because it's like getting to sixth gear. Once you get to sixth gear, you're burning less gas, you're spending less money, but you're more efficient. Versus now you got to get onto the highway, so you got to speed up. You're burning all through that gear. You're getting low miles per gallon because you got to hit the gas and you got to shift. And then, like, did you fucking money shift? Did you shift down on accident and now you got to restart, or now you got to start from another position, or you learned your lesson, so now you're not going to downshift into, you're not going to money shift or shift down. You're going to shift up, but your shift up is going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more cautious, because you don't want to money shift. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to step back. So it's just analyzing all these things. And I think that's going back to the whole, it's hard. Just life is hard, and it's not going to be handed to you. And if you're not actively, consistently looking at what you need to do for tomorrow, for next year, for 5 years, for 10 years, like analyzing your goals, but to the T, analyzing your lifestyle, what you're doing right now, where is that going to get you? Really, look at the last 5 years. Look at last year. What is the growth that you've had in your life? Like, you also don't want just only growth in one world, like going to the gym. Like, you don't want to just go to the gym and have the six pack and have, like, the, this high PR of squats and bench and be very big into the gym, but then not work on your finances, not work on your education, or not work on the gym and only work on the books. Like, you have to find this balance that's like this weird circle of like spending time in your life doing one thing and then the next time in your life doing another thing, and just kind of like building yourself up to get you to that point to where when you have the opportunity, you can take it, because now you're that valuable person. You have the credibility and you have the education and the experience to be able to utilize that opportunity. Because I think that's also another thing is, if you get an opportunity and you don't know how to maximize it, it can actually hurt you. If you're not aware of what the opportunity is presenting. So like, like what that means is like, I don't know, like say you have the ability to start a business, but you haven't done any research on how to manage the finances or how to manage your employees or what you need to actually buy for your company and how to make it grow. And then like kind of like margins and things like that, right? Like you might have the opportunity, but do you have the skill and the education and the knowledge to maximize it? So you can learn this stuff before you actually have the business. And I think that would actually help you get to that next level. And maybe you don't want to be a businessman. Maybe you want to go and do some route and work that you want to work in, but what are you doing to get there? So whatever the job is that you want, like how, like, what are you doing to pursue it? But then it's like analyzing, or have you had some growth from the last year? As long as you're taking the step forward and analyzing that, as well as like reflecting on yourself and saying, have I taken a step forward? Have I taken a step forward? Have I taken a step forward? And I would argue that I have. I would argue that getting out of the military, I got into a job that I was making money that was just as much, if not more. And I was networking a lot, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. Then I went into the helicopter world and I took a step back. And then now I'm starting to take steps forward and step forward. And for the last like 2 or 3 years, every year that I look back, I'm making more money. I'm finding more opportunities. I'm trying my best to take every opportunity available to me. I've probably missed 1 or 2 that I'm not aware of that I could have taken, that I should have been aware of that I didn't take, kind of thing. Maybe the friends that I've met, the people that I've met, I could have built this relationship that I wanted to have, but what did I not do to build that relationship? And it's just kind of like reflection. It's a lot of reflection. It's not going to just happen overnight to become this success that you want to become. I mean, at least it hasn't happened for me and a lot of people that I watch. It's this weird growth phase that they always talk about. And I really feel like I'm in that phase. And who knows how long it lasts at this point. I'm just kind of like, I think I got a few more years of this and I'm semi okay with it. It would be nice to have those friends now, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't want to force anything either. I also believe that everything happens for a reason. You have the opportunity to miss the opportunity. You have the free will to miss the opportunity, right? Like, do you really want to take this opportunity that has been presented to you? Or are you going to let your anxiety hold you back? Are you going to let this feeling where you're like, okay, I'll do it next time. Like somebody comes up to you and says, hey, I have this job, and I'm gonna put it in context for me because this is my world of helicopter stuff and helicopter opportunities. I've had multiple people call me and say, hey, I have this job, I have this opportunity, blah, blah. And I feel like now it's a little bit different because now I'm more set into a place where I can take opportunities as long as it's not going to conflict with my actual work schedule. But when I was going through school or when I didn't have a committed job, like I worked a seasonal job. After that seasonal job, what could I have done? And there was a couple flights where like I flew from Arizona. I flew from Arizona to San Antonio. I did it for free, but the flight time is what matters. The experience is that it matters. And actually that guy, that was like 2.5 years ago. And that guy called me the other day asking if I wanted to go take another job opportunity. Like networking, right? Like making the best out of it. So if I wouldn't have gone, because I had to buy a plane ticket to go out to Arizona, he wasn't going to pay for it and I wasn't getting paid to do the flight. So could I have said like, nah, like I don't have the money to do it? I could have said that because I didn't have the money to do it, but I put the flight on my credit card and then everything that I ate out there, I put it on my credit card. And I flew in that morning to fly the helicopter back that night. And then as soon as I get to this was another crazy thing is like my wife had to drive from Dallas to San Antonio to pick me up that night. And then that night I had to drive back to Houston. Like it was a long ass day. But the thing is, I took every opportunity that I can think of that I was able to take without having an exact reason of not doing it. An exact reason of not doing it would be something like I'm out of town and they're calling me and saying like, hey, you want to go take this like 2-hour flight? It's like, nah, dude, I can't make that. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then maybe it's like something where it's like also weigh that opportunity, right? Like, is it worth it? And I would argue that most opportunities are worth it. And you just have to take the opportunity. If somebody presents an opportunity to you, you have to, no matter what environment that you're in, unless I'm saying like, right, there is a couple times where it's like, okay, hey, I'm out of town and I'm doing stuff with my wife. We're actively not like we're actively away, not like I'm at my house and I just don't feel like doing it. So it's like taking every opportunity that you can to get you to that next step as well, right? And it just doesn't happen overnight. That's one thing that I've really realized when it comes to success. But it also comes down to like, how bad do you really want it? Do you really want what you say you want? Because I believe that God or the universe is going to give it to you. But it's not going to be given to you where like, I want this Lamborghini. It's like, okay, I'm going to give you the opportunities to get this Lamborghini. And I'm going to give you the money to get this Lamborghini. But I'm not going to give you $200,000, $300,000 just off of a lottery win. I'm going to give it to you in increments. And can you save your money up to this point? Or can you invest your money to get to the point to where now you can buy it or whatever, right? Depending on how it goes. But, also being aware of the time that you're in, right? Like, do I want to, as well as do I want to just be a worker bee for the rest of my life to simply just get this one thing? Like, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't want to be an employee for the rest of my life, because that's another thing. Like, I want my own schedule, right? Anyways, the whole point is like taking the opportunity. It's going to suck, and it's not going to be as easy as you thought it was to become successful. And it's like, as you get older, it feels more and more in my heart that I'm like, fuck, like I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. It doesn't matter how much I'm doing. There's always fucking more that I can do. And then maybe it's like not just doing more by going out and running 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles. Maybe it's like cutting that running down to like 2 miles and then coming home and reading a book. And then after I get done reading a book, studying my helicopter stuff. And after I get done studying my helicopter stuff, like making this podcast. And then after this podcast, like, what am I going to do? Plan for tomorrow. Like, and I think that's the hard part, because I'm not guaranteed this level of success that I wish, that I want, that I hope for. It's kind of like I'm just going off of like this innate feeling that I have that I'm like, okay, maybe if I do this, it'll work. Maybe if I do this, it'll work. And then listening as well to like other people around me tell me like, hey, maybe you should focus on this. Maybe you should focus on this. Hey, read this book. This book will help you maybe in some aspect of your life. So I don't know. I think that's where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to talk you guys through something that I'm going through. And maybe you're not there yet, because maybe it's not the time of life that you're going through. Maybe you're past that time in life. Maybe you're watching this and you're like, dude, good shit. You're on the roll. You're on the right path. If you feel like, I watched this one podcast recently, and it says something along the lines of like, if you feel like your life is in chaos and you don't know where it's going, you're probably in the right path to get there, because you can't see where the end result is, but the end result is coming. Kind of thing. And the way that the speaker said it made a lot more sense. And it could put it a lot better into perspective. But I just feel like it's a little deceiving from the inside looking out, or from the outside looking in. From the inside looking out, it's like, dude, it's so ridiculously hard to get to where I want to go. But from the outside looking in, it's like the only thing that people can see is, I'm flying a new helicopter. I'm flying in different places. I'm driving different cars. I'm doing different things. I'm going on different vacations. And it's like, dude, it's not all just up, 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 up. It's like, what you don't see is this. It's the constant questioning of myself. It's the constant, like, what can I do to get better? It's the constant, like, should I be doing this, or should I take away here and give here? And what's the right choice? And I think everybody has their own right choice. But again, but what I'm saying is like, depending on the time in your life, this is going to sound different to you. And then you're going to come back and watch this maybe 5 years from now and be like, dude, that I took that for granted. It's just like when your grandpa or grandma or whoever, like might not have been someone in your family, just somebody at some point in time said something to you that had so much wisdom and so much knowledge behind the information and the words they just told you, that you didn't even understand it until a few years later, that you're like, that's what that meant. Like, I get it now. And I feel like that's where I'm at. But I'm at that point where I understand where I'm at, but not fully understand. I feel like where I'm at is I'm in that weird transition period of learning where I'm going and trying to get there and going through what I have to go through to get there. And I have to do it alone. But it's weird because it's like I said, finding people that can help you go through it, but nobody's going to be here to pay my bills for me. You know what I mean? Like I just so many life lessons, and all I want to know is what can I do better, right? And it's kind of the reason why I make these podcasts, right? Maybe I say something to you guys that clicks in my head that I'm like, that's what I should be doing. I'm giving y'all guys advice, and maybe I should be taking my own advice. Maybe it's a passing of time that I'm going to be able to reflect on in a few years and be like, damn, what a good time that I was in. Like enjoying the moment, enjoying the environment that I'm in, like really taking a step back and like appreciating that I have the ability to do this. You know what I mean? So anyways, well, I hope that was a good podcast. It was something very quick. I again really want to get somebody on here. I mean, I've had a couple people that already have said that they're going to come on. But I already did a podcast, but of course my audio was all messed up. So just still working on it. And, I hope y'all like the podcast. I hope that the content is going to find its route. I don't necessarily want it to be this, all inspiring motivational podcast. It's more of a understanding of life podcast, and then getting other people on to like tell their story of life and just listen. And then as well as like just bullshitting with the boys, like let me hear what the boys are doing kind of thing. But anyways, yeah, we'll see how the podcast develops. I think it just takes time for me to understand what it is that I want out of the podcast. I think it takes time for me to see what you guys are interested in by listening and giving feedback. It's just going to take time to understand it a little bit more. But anyways, thanks for watching. Y'all have a good night.